There's Kitty Cat goes there. There's Fred in his usual perch, and hopefully we'll be joined by other cats, but right now we're picking locks. Alright, here. Get our situation set up. Property of David. Meow. Alright, hello, hello, hello. We're going to start with this Master Pro Series. Maybe we'll build up to the crazy Ingersoll, but who knows? Well, it remains to be seen. What's up, Nemo? Alright, that thing. All messages. Alright, did I get the right thing? Yes, I did. I feel like Pro Series is definitely like one of my many comfort locks. So yeah, the reason I'm doing this live is Ben, stop it! Is I feel like there was the definite potential for a shortage of content on my channel today because I got rained out at my feral colony. It's very weird to get rained out in Los Angeles. I think there was also some other stuff going on, so it wasn't just the rain, because I've had videos of me feeding my cats in the rain. But what the heck? I figure we'll go live for a little while, we'll shoot the shit, and then I'll continue on with my life and feel content that I did enough to appease the YouTube lords. I guess. You have a cyclone? I think the weather gods, whoever they may be, are upset about something. Whatever that something is, remains to be seen. But there's definitely something going on that the weather gods are not happy with. So everyone, 7 people watching right now. How's the weather where you're at? Is it kind of poo-poo caca like it is over here and where Nemo is, or is it kind of not so bad? All right, first open. Also, and I said this on my last live, but I'll say it again, if there's anybody who's into lockpicking and is new or whatever, but it really behooves you, if you pick a Master Pro Series, this also applies to the American locks as well, but Pro Series, since that's right in front of me, reset the core to locked before you snap the shackle closed, because it's got such a powerful spring on the actuator. There's a very non-zero chance you'll over-rotate the core back and you can end up with maracas, theoretically. Anyway. So yeah, that's the Pro Series. That's our warm-up. The my Parky lock came in today, which I cannot show you because it's a big secret. but it's beautiful, and long live Parky, for those who know. We're going to be picking a fair bit of brass locks today. I think that's the secret. How about starting with this one? It's kind of cool vintage Slaymaker brass lock. Probably made towards the end of the existence of Slaymaker, because it's made in Hong Kong. And it's hardened. Now, one thing I will say is this is, like most 50mm brass padlocks, absolutely vulnerable to the 5-pin comb attack. But it also has very lovely spools. So we're going to give it a quick shot and see how we do. Guys, I'm trying to pick a lock with tweezers. This is not going to work out. Oh my god, I'm useless. So, I don't want to get too controversial and be too much of a Debbie Downer, but Vinny, how can you be a Debbie Downer when you have cats that are going absolutely zoomy-tastic right now? But it's quite a time to be alive right now. The past week felt like a year, or maybe a millennia. I don't really know. It was a lot. Try this. Vortex. I've never heard of this brand before, and I've only seen it once. Although maybe it's from not America. There's also a chance of that. Sometimes us Americans, we got to remind ourselves that there are other countries. But those are just going to be states pretty soon. Shouts out to you Canadians. I hope you're ready. Governor Trudeau made a great speech yesterday in the presence of the current tariff situation. Wow, that was... Oh. I don't know what that's made of, but... Goo. Don't lock your stuff up with Vortex. It's a shit lock. That was way too quick. All right. The brass padlocks continue. Abe is 5550. I'm gonna pick a Euro style. Come on, peeps. Do you want to talk about locks? Do you want to talk about cats? Do you want to talk about why the whole world is kind of in need of a Xanax right now? By the looks of it, things. I don't like that at all. Baby boy. Do we want to take a break from picking and look at kitty cats? Do we want to talk about my other interests? Cars, airplanes? If anybody else in the chat's an Av geek, throw down what's your favorite airplane of all time. Mine will always be Concorde. I'll just tell a story right now while I'm at it. But baby boy, Fred is going absolutely insane. Yeah, when I was a kid, my family, well, minus my dad, but my mom, my brother, and myself, we used to go visit my parents in New York City for about a month. And they lived in the Rockaways. Hey, GK man, how's it going? Yeah, so my grandparents lived in the Rockaways, which is right underneath the climb out for JFK. And when I was a kid, once every morning, you'd wake up, and over my grandparents' house, you'd see this beautiful, beautiful jet that was louder than anything else in the sky by far. Like it wasn't even close. Baby boy. Hey, Mr. Boop. Come here, Mr. Boop. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, but I might have to halt picking and chatting for a second to break up a kitty square off because Ben is intimidating Emily again. This is not what I enjoy about cats is when they decide to squabble up. Okay, here goes how I woke up looking for the broccoli. Hockey, keep a horn on me, that can my seat. IP, ownership, the blueprint is by me. Mr. Get Off, I get off of my feet. When I hear music, it makes me dance. You got the music, now it's your chance. So GK man, how's the weather in your neck of the woods? It sucks here in LA, and there's a cyclone heading towards Nemo's neck of the woods, which is even suckier, to be honest with you, because it's just raining here. There's no cyclonic flows. Benny! Benny, Benny, Benny. Yes, he's a Benny, Benny. He's a Benny, Benny. Yes, he's a Benny, Benny. Benny, Benny, Benny. Step away from the butane. Benny, Benny, Benny. He's a Benny, Benny. Benny, Benny, Benny. We need a new Ben theme song for today. I think today it's going to be a Spanish song. Maybe not. Ben is not impressed by Spanish songs. I think we're going to have to choose a Ben song just for today. Not sure which one it's going to be. Louisa! Bye, Louisa! What's up, Dean Pete? By the way, congrats on the 98 Pro, my friend. Those locks are a pain in the butt sometimes. What cars does what to be so hard to pick, Robert? This specific lock is because I'm not paying attention. Also, it's almost all super high lift, and these 5550s have great spools. So the counter rotation really engages. Also, I'm not paying attention. There's numerous things to get. I mean, Dean, I don't know if you know, I mentioned it in passing. Funny enough, I actually have a 98 Pro handy right here. But, you know, Robert, there's a chance I'll actually, pause talking for a second and shooting the shit, as it were, and actually, take things, seriously and pay attention to the picking rather than the BSing. But I also enjoy the BSing part of life. Chili dogs suck. Actually, that's a lie. Chili dogs can suck. You need good chili. It's very important. Like, if people are using, like, Crapalicious canned chili con carne, it's such a quick way to ruin chili dogs. Like, make your own chili. It's not that hard. It's freaking... it's freaking ground beef and, beans and, like, tomatoes. And a few other things. But, you know. Yeah, cheap chili. Ugh. But yeah. But Dean, I don't know if you know, but I actually was the guy who picked the Packlock 98 Pro that PackPress put out for the Covert Instruments Gold Jackal thing. So I actually have that. You know, I actually have a very fun 98 Pro. But also, that was one of the more difficult picks I've ever done. Out in the cold at night. Ooh, that's a good call. That's a good call, Robert. I like that. Yeah, binding order is so important. You know, especially like even you know what's funny? This is not a hard lock. This is just a Master 160, but I was struggling on this particular one for so long because I couldn't figure out the correct binding order, and because pin number 1 is super high lift, and I kept thinking it was binding, except it wasn't. I kept you know, setting pin 1 first, because it was like, oh, this is a binding pin, and also when I set it, it drops me into a false set, and you know, and that seems like a fantastic place to be. I like being in a false set, but then, you know, I keep going to pick, and I keep dropping it, and then I finally realized, no, the funny thing is, it's the last pin you have to set is pin 1. Yeah. This 5550, I picked it off a Lovelock wall by the Hollywood sign. See, that's the false set I've been looking for. But, and, you know, when I was at the actual Lovelock wall, I was, Jesus Christ, baby boy. You have a concussion, man? You're what is this, Cat CTE? See, the funny thing about a false set is it usually means really close, but there's also like a non-zero chance, like especially with locks like the 5550, where there's that one standard pin and then 4 spools behind it. You could have just set pin 1 and just have the spools, you know, fully engaged in the narrow part of the spool. That's also a possibility. Yay! Stupid lock. But yeah, in that case, the false set meant I had set 2 pins. Because I had to set 3 spools after that. But yeah. I got this from a Lovelock fence up by the Hollywood sign. And, I mean, when I went and got it, I'm not here to single pin pick when I'm at a bridge raid or a fence raid. So I did the natural thing and, you know, combed it and we're open really quickly. Do I have my comb picks right now to demonstrate for any non-pickers who may or may not be watching what I'm talking about? Which is that, yeah, that lock was very difficult to single pin pick as I did, because it has, you know, it's a little mushy, but if I'm, like, trying to get this lock open quickly, I'm not doing any of that crap. I'm doing that. I'm inserting a comb pick, which is shaped like a comb, funnily enough, and it's all good, Dean. But yeah, like, if I'm trying to remove or open this lock quickly for, you know, removal or whatever, there's no way I'm doing that single pin picking BS. When I can do that, I was having a very hard time, like, centering the comb. And I mean, look, the same thing goes for this guy, which also gives me trouble, but 5-pin comb go burr. But, you know, we're not here to do bypassing today. There might be some raking every now and then, and, you know, if enough people ask for it, I'll embarrass a master lock just for shits and giggles, but I don't consider that necessarily the highest form of lock-related content. Let's try the somewhat difficult 160. I'm so tired. Goof off of having this goof off imprint. Benny! I'm also trying to remember how this guy likes... Right, top of the QA. So I'll also show what I'm talking about right now. Is that you think one is your guy, but it's just not. Nope, I overshot that one. Holy smokes, 12 people watching right now and nobody's commenting. Come on, people, say hi in the chat. Say what's up. Prove to me you're real people. People, there's now a baker's dozen of people in the chat and nobody's saying hello. Say hello. Hello, everybody. Yeah, G. Keeman, absolutely, you're a bot, man. Were you made by ChatGPT or Grok? Or Grok, or however the heck you pronounce the Elon AI, Twitter AI, whatever it is. XAI. No, I'm sorry. I refuse to call it X. It's frickin' Twitter. In other news, I no longer have a Twitter because God above. I mean, it's also been several years since I've had a Twitter, but yeah, I might be an atheist, but my entire family is Jewish. I cannot support it. Jesus Christ, Benny. I have an iPhone 13 GQ, man. It's getting on in years. It's probably time for a new one, but she keeps, I like to use my phones for as long as possible and, get as much out of them, as it were, before I trade them in for something new, or honestly, the ideal to me is I use the phone until it pretty much croaks. No, and no, I don't. I have no Twitter related apps. I'm not a Musk fan at all. Something to do with the massive anti-Semitism that he seems to be promoting. iPhones are crap. Couldn't agree with you more. So are Galaxies and Androids. All phones are crap right now. There's no innovation. The last thing that seemed remotely innovative was like the folding displays where you could kind of go back to a flip phone. But yeah, I'm not. All phones are crap. The coolest phone I've ever seen was, I think this was back in the day when Samsung was still trying to enter the like photography space, and I actually kept track on this because I thought it was hilarious. So for those of y'all who don't know, in the late 2000s and early 2010s, Samsung, yeah, that Samsung, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes the apps are different. The icons are different for the two systems. That's for sure. But yeah, as I was saying, sorry. So in the late 2000s, early 2010s, Samsung, the ruler and oligarch of all South Korea, decided that they were going to try and enter the photography space, and not by not speaking of the of the camera modules on their phones or anything like that, but no, they were going to build actual single lens reflex interchangeable lens cameras. Now this is interesting because I believe that Samsung separately is a large CMOS or CCD or both manufacturer, which are the sensors used to capture digital images on digital cameras and your phone. But so Samsung introduced a couple SLRs. I never owned one because, frankly, I'm not a huge fan of digital photography. I vastly prefer working with film. I know that's weird for a dude who's a 90s child, but haha, I'm nothing if not a contradiction in terms. I'm also once again reminded why I really don't like picking this Fugaze 160. But yeah. That is not appreciated there, Mishy Boop. So yeah, anyways, Samsung came out with a couple of SLR cameras. I had a friend who had one when I was in college, and who hated it, but I didn't see what, like, that much that was wrong with it, because one thing, they used a Pentax K mount for their SLR cameras, and I am a huge fan of Pentax. I have the mother of all Pentaxes, which is the medium format 67 II, and that's where also the 67 in David Romano 67 comes from. Yeah, it's kind of corny, I know, yeah, but so anyways, eventually Samsung decided, you know what? We're going to make a really forward-thinking camera. And so they made, it was either a mirrorless or an SLR, but either way, it was a fully interchangeable lens, like semi-pro level camera, with a phone and a full Android system touchscreen on the back. It was, I looked at it and I was like, there is no way that this has any application for real photography uses. Because touchscreens are great, but touchscreens, when conditions are favorable, but the whole point of photography is the conditions might not be favorable at all. There might be rain, sleet, snow, dust. You don't know. You might be wearing gloves of various things. Your hands might be wet or sweaty. It really depends on the kind of photography you're doing, and just to not have a backup of quality physical controls. It's kind of like all those cars they have right now, where everything is a touchscreen, and I'm like, gee whiz, I thought it was illegal to take my eyes off the road this much. Thankfully, some manufacturers seem to be coming to their senses and, reintroducing, simple knobs like the volume knob. But, I mean, and I'm fine with touchscreens. My phone is a touchscreen. I use my iPad so much that I haven't actually gotten around to fixing my broken-ass laptop computer. But, there are some applications, mainly, I think, in cars and cameras, or at least in my eyes, where it's great to have a touchscreen, but you need to have physical backup so you can handle things without taking your gloves off, without taking your eyes off what you're doing. If you're going to interface with a touchscreen, there's a non-zero chance you have to take your eyes out of the viewfinder, because you can't touch. You don't know what you're hunting and pecking automatically. This is my anti-over touchscreen crusade. I'm on a crusade here, people. I also remember, here's another family. Here's a David's family story thing. When I was younger, not that much younger actually, my dad decided to lease a 2012 Cadillac touchscreen laptop. Yeah, so I use my iPad at this point as a touchscreen laptop. But yeah, in 2012, my dad decided to lease a 2-liter Cadillac ATS with a 6-speed manual. Great driving car. The interior was hot garbage. Now, the first thing is that quality-wise, I think it was less, and this is a common thing for Cadillac too, is that, they make a decent luxury car, but it just doesn't have the quality or togetherness of something like a Lexus or a BMW or a Mercedes. And I mean, you could kind of tell this because I remember sitting in the cabin of the ATS and thinking, the quality of this leather and these plastics is just is no better than the 2001 Volvo station wagon that I learned how to drive on. And as a matter of fact, I'd say the quality of certain things are actually objectively worse in the ATS than in the Volvo. Now, granted, Volvo does sometimes do a real nice product, but, So, hate this 160 so much. I'm also using the wrong pick, I think. I should really use a deep hook rather than a shallow hook. But yeah. But one thing I absolutely hated was that ATS had one of the first editions of like a haptic feedback heavy infotainment system where instead of having a volume knob, they had a little like touchscreen slider that was kind of in the shape of like a Cadillac V, like that long, whoosh, like the top of the Cadillacs, like what you would see in like a 50s Eldo. And 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 that you had one of those for temperature adjust. You had one of those for volume adjust, for all these things, and I couldn't help. Now, a couple of things. Number one, my dad decided to lease rather than buy, which was possibly the only time my family decided to lease instead of buy a car in my lifetime, and that was odd. And number two, I had strongly, and my brother as well, because we're both gearheads, strongly advised my father that the car he should have gotten was a CTSV station wagon. A great car, a future classic, a car that was also available, for the record, with a manual gearbox. And, truly a generational automobile, and an absolute, yeah, you know what? Guess what? I've got a deep hook handy. Why not give it a shot? Oh, this one's very pointy. But I literally said, I said, buy the CTSV wagon. It is a great car, number one. But number two, it's a future class. Yes, I can drive a stick. My current car is a automatic, and the one before it was as well, so I'm quite rusty with stick at the moment. Like, I'd definitely be, like, nursing the clutch out. But, yeah, my current car is a 2003 Acura, which also has a better interior, by the way, than the ATS quality-wise. Although the leather in the Acura is that, like, 90s, early 2000s Japanese leather that's, like, really hard and plasticky. It's not nearly as nice of a place to be as, like, newer Japanese cars or Swedish or German cars. But it's better than the Cadillac. But my TL is one of its, like, there was actually a recall on the 2003 Acura TL because the transmission was very prone to failure. And my car actually has a rebuilt transmission in it right now. And if and when, well, it's not a question of if, when the transmission fails next, assuming something else hasn't gone wrong, because the car's 20-something years old right now. It's old enough to drink alcohol legally. It's just, but, it's also a Honda, which is why I'm like, I want to keep that sucker going as long as possible, because it's a Honda. And it's a Honda that it's fairly easy to work on, too, just with extra leather. But who doesn't like a little bit of extra leather, am I right, ladies? All right. Sorry, no. Let me try and get myself canceled. But yeah. Assuming the car is still running and the transmission fails next, I'm going to do a manual swap on that car. From what I'm... Not to get too Honda Acura boy in the woods right now, but I've been told that it's not... Well, first off, it's a J-Series engine, which is, a very common V6 in the Honda Acura family. But I'm told that probably the easiest and cheapest thing to do is to get the transmission and clutch and bell housing assembly from a RSX Type S and swap that in. And I'm assuming there's a not insignificant amount of those cars in junkyards where they've been totaled because they were driven by some young dude who thought he was Paul Walker, and crashed the car because people are idiots, myself included, by the way. I spun out a car as a young kid on Mulholland Drive, and was just by the grace of God that didn't hit another car, or oh right, the other thing you can happen on Mulholland Drive: fall off the side of a cliff. Fuck another car. Try falling to your fucking death by a couple hundred feet. That was actually the car I learned to drive stick on, which was a 91 Infiniti G20. Great car. Lovely car. I loved that car. I miss it so much. But that car was so much fun, and because it was a 91, it was from the period where you could either install airbags or automatic seatbelts. And so it had automatic seatbelts, the ones where the shoulder part would, you would never detach the shoulder part, and it would just run on that motorized track thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah? So yeah, that yeah, so my Infiniti had those, which were a lot of fun, but it also had no airbag whatsoever. Not on the passenger side, not on the driver's side. It must have been one of the last cars you could buy in the United States with absolutely no airbag, because I think in '92 they mandated a second airbag or automatic seatbelts. But no, in the G20, the track was in the actual, or yeah, it was in the door frame, adjacent area, but yeah, but it wasn't it's that was a great car to drive. I miss it all the time, and I definitely think as a gearhead, if I ever had, and I know this is corny AF, but if I ever had disposable income, which, come on, let's face it, I'm a 30-year-old or 30-something-year-old millennial. Disposable income is a very, very big pipe dream, at least until my parents kick the bucket and I inherit whatever they have, which, I mean, I hope it's no time soon. So disposable income, very distant dream, but I would definitely have go out and get one of all the best cars I've ever owned, the ideal version. So I had an Infiniti G20 91. There wasn't that many options for the G20. There was the T, which wasn't very much, but I would just get one that's in really good condition, and not the color of the one I had, because that one was beige, and beige is just a god-awful color for cars. I'm sorry. Even a happy little car like that G20 would be freaking beige, or just all of a sudden, just for an 80-year-old. Put a goddamn vinyl roof on that 80-year-old piece of shit. This lock is really annoying me. We're just taking a break from it. I'm also not fully paying attention because I'm bullshitting, but, yeah, it's pissing me off, kind of. I need to be a good boy and not pick the parky lock. But evil keyway on this thing. We'll give it another. Now we break out the rake. There's honestly 0 point in trying to single pin pick this thing. I hate doing that. Also, I hate single pin picking. SFIC, it sucks. It's no fun. But yeah, so I'd get a really nice G20, just not in beige. One car that I've always wanted, and because the car that I came home from the hospital as a newborn in was a Ford Taurus, a 91 Ford Taurus. And that car stayed in my family until I was, I think in high school, actually. So it It was a really good car, and I love the SHO from that period with the Yamaha V6 and the manual gearbox. So I would love an early 90s SHO as well for the car collection. So yeah, 90s SHO, nice G20. The car I learned to drive on was a Volvo V70 station wagon. I would love the R version. By the way, you're noticing a thing is that all of these cars are like stick shift of some sort. Yeah. The Millennial anti-theft device will not work with me. Good luck, suckers. Yeah, come on. There's 20 people going. I don't bite. What's your favorite car of all time? What's your favorite plane of all time? What's your favorite lock of all time? This is not my favorite lock of all time. Although I will say, because this was a love lock that I liberated from its location, one of my favorite love locks of all time. I highly approve of whoever put a frickin' key mark as their love lock. I think that is hilarious. Yeah, I mean, hey, the more rambling, the more live the chat is, the more people will come in. That's my theory. Pause. 27 people, and just G Keyman and Dean just absolutely monopolizing the chat. So thank you to G Keyman and Dean, and look, the rest of you who are not talking, this is how my cat feels of you. He's like, they're not talking. Yeah, I'm tired too, Nemo, but but I'm also like a little like ADHD wired right now. So like, you know, figured I'd go live and get some of that wiry out. Yeah, black cats are so great. So Ben, as I said in my last stream, Ben is actually the first cat I ever rescued myself. I found him as an unaltered mangy stray in 2021. And hello, Zoe the cat. Yeah, so I found Ben as a mangy stray in 2021, just on the street when I was delivering the food that I had cooked, and he just is, you know. And I saw him, and I said out the window of my car, I said meow, and he said meow back, and I was like, well, I gotta go give some food to this cat. I happen to have a very convenient container of Meow Mix in my delivery van. So I went over to him, and unlike most feral cats, which usually run away, he came towards me, and he rubbed up against me, and he rubbed his way right into my heart. And then a few days later, I took him off the streets, and he did the rest of the my delivery route with me, and then he came home, and we eventually got him fixed, and we found out he's allergic to, who's we? Oh, it's me and my mom. But so if there's we, I'm not using the royal we to describe a single person. There's multiple people. But yeah, but we got him fixed. We found out he's allergic to fleas, which is why he was so mangy, and he's lived with me ever since, and he's a wonderful cat, and he's an absolute merchant of chaos. And he's definitely the most rambunctious cat of my litter, and if you hit him in just the right spot, he will lick uncontrollably. Good kitty, good kitty, good kitty. Also, so yeah, he's named Ben because I found him on Ben Avenue. It's a street in the Los Angeles Valley area. And Ben is a great name because Ben can be used in any song in the world. and I can prove it to you right now. Ben, 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 ben. Ben, 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 ben. Benny, Benny, Ben. Bye, Ben. So now I've fully annoyed Ben away, and Fred is still chilling. Yeah, cats are so. I'm not gonna lie, Nemo. It's been a hard while. For me too. And the cats have been. For me, and also the kind of the central focus of my channel are kind of the things that provide me with dopamine, which are cats and occasionally opening locks that I have no business opening. Although yeah. Hey, what's up, Paracentric? You were lurking in the chat the entire time, and you were like, nah, I'm gonna wait till now to say hello. I see how it is. I've also been hitting the catnip, but I can't put that on stream. The other thing is that if I give Ben catnip, he turns into just the most hilarious roly-poly-oly in the world. But he also gets a little too rambunctious at times. Come on! The funny thing is, my cats, I had a can of catnip spray somewhere, and my cats friggin' are not interested in that. But my sous chef gave me these balls of like compressed catnip that are like attached to a piece of plastic where the cats can roll them. They love that. And I will, but there's also a not insignificant amount of cats like yours, Zoe the cat. There's a not insignificant amount of cats that are completely nonplussed by catnip. One of the cats I take care of at the feral colony, Baby Blue, he couldn't care less when I bring catnip to the colony. But some of the other ones, they're just like, whoa, we're going crazy, we're rolling around, da 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 da. Oh no, Ben is named after Ben Avenue. That's where he's from. Benny Ben, Ben Ben Ben, Ben 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 Ben, Ben 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 Ben, Benny Ben Ben Ben. He's more of a Bennifer Lopez, honestly, or a Bennifer Aniston, or wait, no, or a Bennifer Garner. If Ben Meowfleck is entering the picture. Oh boy, no. But one of my favorite books growing up was definitely Yellow River Flows by I.P. Daly. I'll see myself out, by the way, for that dad joke. Meow. Alright. Oh yeah, as to SFIC and LFIC, I do not derive tremendous enjoyment from either, to be honest with you. They kind of suck to pick. In my opinion. They can rake really easy. Some of them single pick really nicely. Some of them don't. Sometimes hitting control is really easy. Sometimes it's not. That sort of inconsistency drives me up the frickin' wall. Like, they are. I don't like that. But despite that, I've got a lot of SFIC locks. I have no LFIC except for the Everest Primus, the Everest Primus, Schlage LFIC, SFIC. No, hell no, G key man. This key mark is for the collection. I'm more than willing to send you this this best with the kind of interesting keyway. I think it's M. It's got a story. This doorknob used to be at George Air Force Base, which no longer exists. Former military doorknob. Yeah. Oh, crapola. I've got to go back to the former George Air Force Base and see what other locks they've got lying around. It's mostly best. There's some Schlage FSIC there too. It's all F keyway though, and I don't have any blanks for F keyway, so it's like, and I'm too cheap and too lazy to buy blanks for the F keyway, because how often in real life are you gonna find the frickin' F keyway? Like, is it the rarest of the Schlage keyways? Absolutely not, but it's up there. But yeah, who knows? Maybe if I get enough of them and like people, would want me to ship them, if I can get them, then maybe. Maybe we'll get around to it, maybe not. I do need to drive to Victorville to do that shit, which is also like a 2-hour drive for me. Although, there's some fun urbexing over there. Any abandoned military base is my kind of urbex spot. I don't know if... And thanks, Dean. I appreciate that. I also really like picking this master lock, which is much rarer than it should be, because it was only sold for a few years. And I know you might be thinking, well, that master lock looks awfully like a Pro Series 7040, but it's not actually. It's a discontinued lock called the 991, and it's way cooler because it's not a Pro Series, number one, and because it's rare and obscure, which is, for an indie hipster kid, I was into this master lock before it was cool. But more to the point, it has a sprung shackle, which the Pro Series don't. You know what? Dina? I don't know. I was actually never mailed the pack lock patch and sticker and whatnot, because I actually was invited by Packlock to have lunch with PackPrez, and I was actually given a tour of the factory and given the patch in person, which was hella cool. And yes, PackPrez is tall as shit. That dude is hella tall. Now, I know I'm a total manlet. I hope, is Nola in the chat? But yeah. PackPrez next to me is hilarious because I am super tiny and he is the opposite of super tiny. So let me see if I can pull up some photos. But yeah, Master Lock 991, very cool, rare, discontinued Master Lock that I always enjoy showing off. I'll probably do a video on it at some point because I think it's freaking cool. And where did I put the friggin' keys for this thing? Because that's cool too. Where did I put the keys to you? Jesus, this whole situation is just that was not English or any other language. This whole situation here is a mess. Where are the keys to the 991? No? Ow. Ugh. Okay, Bueller, keys on and eyes. This is like a joke where you need to explain it and it's no longer funny. And it's the same thing. It's like the keys you've been looking for so long, it's no longer relevant. But this has a really cool-ish, I mean, y'all know I'm a Master Lock nerd because because we live in the timeline where you can't have anything nice, but I can't have plenty of Master Locks. Haha, found it! Yay! Bye, Zoe the cat, good night. But yeah, as I was going to say, this 991, it came standard with the... Ben has an opinion. Benny? Benny. He's a Benny. Benny is a Benny. Do not go under the thingy. So yeah, standard, the 991, as I was saying, shipped with the, with what Master Lock calls the 81 keyway, and what, Ilko calls the M4 keyway, I believe, which is the keyway from, well, originally from the Master Lock number 81. But, alright, but, yeah, but, and so it came standard with this keyway, but I put in this keyway, which is not the same, because it is the restricted keyway, with the do not duplicate thing on it. So I think that's cool. But yeah, sprung shackle as opposed to the not so sprung shackle on the Pro Series. Love this lock. One of my favorites. So glad I have it. Y'all can't have it. There is no amount of money. Actually, that's a lie. There is an amount of money, but you don't want to know. You know, it's way too much for a friggin' Master Lock. To make me part with that thing. But yeah. Alright, where are we going? I don't know where we're going with this situation. Oh, one of the cats just took a shit, and I can smell it, and that's the lovely part of owning cats, is that they are very organized, and you don't need to walk them for poop, but they poop in your apartment, and they smell. Oh boy. What's next on the list? Who's next on the list? Ah, yes, the sweet scent of cat poop. Okay, I'm not gonna like take this very seriously because I honestly I hate picking this lock. I've never successfully picked it, and it's way too nice for me to like gorilla tension it, which it seems to want. But we're gonna give the Ingersoll a shot. Hey, just you wait, GK man. You know, think of for how long the thought of video conferencing was just an absolute pipe dream. You know, science fiction only. And now it's a fatty because it's so Dean, LPL actually has a video on this exact lock, which is probably way better than I can ever explain. But it's a really cool lock that was made by the Miracle Lock Company, who are famous for this series of military locks and the Miracle Magnetic, which was a very interesting pin tumbler lock that also had a magnetic element that it had magnets in the keys. But yeah, GK man, I love this. I want the bigger one with the full shackle guard and the Ava core, but I gotta tell you, I absolutely cannot afford that right now. There are so many like nice lock things where I need to be where I've had to be like, I want extremely a lot, but money's kind of tight right now, and I gotta put certain priorities in front of the locks, unfortunately. But I'm very happy to have this one. That being said. But yeah, I gotta prioritize rent and cars and cats over new expensive locks. Although I did share with the Lady Locks Dragon's Lair today the or yesterday evening, either way, one or the other, that lot of Kaba Geminis, and exactly good healthy way to think of things, GK man. But yeah, I did share with the Dragon's Lair that lot of Kaba Geminis, which I'm not gonna lie, if I were rich, I'd buy that just for the pinning kit. Just to have a friggin' Gemini pinning kit would be so just legit. And then, and also to have all those friggin' Gemini kicks. Oh my god, I would be like a pig in shit. I'm a big kicks fan because I like padlocks, and it's fairly easy to find kick-compatible padlocks. So, like, I'm very much in, like, how can I find a high-security cylinder that is available in a kick? Because it gets harder and harder to find them in kicks as you go up the belts, especially with some locks that are, they're only available in Euros or Mortis or Rim or something like that. I'm planning my destruction. I can't do this Jimmy voice. So GK man, you were witness to last time I went live picking locks. I did a hybrid raking and single pin picking attack on the Duo that successfully opened it, which I'm kind of debating. Hey, should I work on the Duo or on this friggin' Ingersoll in the same way, where I start off raking and then switch to single pin picking and voila la la lock open? Might work, never know. This thing needs such friggin' heavy tension. It's insane. Right. We'll give it a quick shot. Rake time. Somewhere some black belt is like, you can't rake a lever lock! Let's see, did I set anything? I didn't hear a single lever reset, so no! I wonder if it'd be easier if I picked it vertically. That seems like a more, it's more natural. So but yeah, honestly, this is one of those locks where I'm like borderline totally okay with letting it live in the naughty bucket forever, because I'd rather have it in good condition and working rather than like, just absolutely shredding the keyway. It is a lever lock. It's kind of like it's somewhere between a traditional lever and a lever sidebar like you would see in a lot of Japanese locks. It's kind of a bit of both and yet somehow neither. But yeah, it's a very, the Ingersoll 10 lever is a very interesting lock design. I'll actually take it apart in a second. So, because the mechanism, like watching the mechanism work is just super cool, and I can do that all friggin' day. I don't like this. This might be a little too deep. And also I want a flat hook so I'm not slipping off the levers. That ought to do. Also, this meme has been stuck in my head all day, so I'm bringing the sickness to you. Y'all know the end of the film My Girl, where Macaulay Culkin is dead, and what's her face? I can't remember the name of the actress. Is going, he can't see without his glasses. Y'all know what I'm talking about? So there's this meme which has been stuck in my head, which the bottom pic is a still from that where she's screaming she can't see without his glasses, but the top pic is Ozzy Osbourne saying generals gathered in their masses. So yeah, I'm bringing the sickness of generals gathered in their masses. He can't see without his glasses to you. Also, I'm a big not a huge Sabbath with Dio fan, but I do like more old school, Ozzy Sabbath. Tommy Iommi's a god level guitarist of all time. And yeah, they made some banger albums in my opinion. Frickin' Master of Reality is probably one of my favorite metal albums of all time. Paranoid is great. Paranoid is one of my favorites, obviously. I mean, look, War Pigs is from Paranoid. You know, but these days I'm more of a Master of Reality guy. You know, friggin' Sweet Leaf is on that. You know, being Sweet Leaf, Sweet Leaf is on that song. Friggin' Into the Void is one of the like heaviest like Sabbath tracks and one of my favorite of all time. And just, you know, that slow build of I can get it shining through so fast, floating to the night sky, and then just that breakdown of just freedom fighters head up to the sun, thirsty for them for the revolution. Oh, so good. My voice is almost as bad as Ozzy's. There were 20 people, now I've scared them all away. 11 people, stick around. Thanks, shouts out to the lucky number 11, the real gangsters. In other news, being paranoid isn't too bad, but if you want, you know, but alright. I didn't think I was gonna get very far with this. I never pick this like I said, I never pick it very seriously. I always worry about hurting it. You know, and I want it to be in as good condition as possible. It's in really good shape for its age. So yeah, but we'll take it apart and I'll show you all the mechanisms because it's super cool. The Ingersoll 10 lever is like one of those mechanisms I just love to like see function because it's amazeballs. All right, speaking of amazeballs, hey Emily. Hey Mickey Boop. Tail. Mickey Boop. Benny. Don't be on cat butt. Yeah, don't be on some buffoonery, Benny. You know. So yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta love a cutaway and just watching locks function sometimes. It's just so nice. Yeah, this is... Yeah, when you win $1,000 shopping spree to Covert Instruments, you do end up with their cutaways. So, yeah, this is... This is my Abus Plus cutaway. And, of course, the Covert Instruments pack lock cutaway, which, honestly, I don't think is that great of a cutaway because... For picking the Packlock 98 Pro with a gold shackle tag. But yeah, I don't think this is that great of a cutaway because they didn't cut away the actual plug at all. So it's very hard to see the actual pins moving. I mean, like, you can see the driver pins go up and down, kind of. But it's like, this is a kind of a meh cutaway. Honestly, I might, like, if I was a little bit more comfortable with my like machining skills, I'd go back and grind out slots in the actual plug so you could see like the key insertion. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, Dina, I will show you how I won the shopping spree in a second. But first, I'm going to take apart this Ingersoll, so we can check out the super duper cool 10 lever core, which I require an screwdriver. Yeah, no, it's definitely cool, but like if you look at like some of like the McFoo's Flying Red Buddha, or you know, some of the cutaway done by like some of the other like cutaway friggin' magicians. It's maybe more functionally, like, because the fact that they didn't cut away the plug might make it a little more functional, as like, you know, with like maybe will affect the actual picking less slightly, maybe. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass completely right now. All right. There we go. Ben has decided to join us. So yeah, so this is the fence or the sidebar. That's why I'm like, it's kind of like a hybrid between a traditional lever and a lever sidebar, is because it actually does have kind of a hinged fence in the way that an actual traditional lever lock would, but it, you know, it clearly behaves kind of a bit more like a lever sidebar core, where like once this thing is able to retract in, it opens, rather than, you know, you have to lift up these, you know, big brass levers up and then the stump will actually slide through. That doesn't happen. But, you know, still, it's an interesting design, and it's really fun to watch the key go in and out. Focus. So yeah, there's no false gates on these levers, but, you know, but yeah, when they align like that, the fence drops in, and then the lock is free to open, and the groove for the fence is actually in the lock body itself. So it's a pretty cool little setup, and you know, the springs for the actual levers are back here. So yeah, it's a very nifty mechanism that I'm quite fond of in like, I bought it just for the mechanism. I mean, you know, and the story. It's purple belt, Dean. It's not easy. And you know, from what I've heard, even, you know, the black belts struggle with this guy, because it's got, you know, it doesn't have any false gates, but it does apparently have some serious tapering on the actual levers themselves. And what makes it really difficult, yeah, it's a very similar, like, that kind of lever sidebar. It's not a traditional lever lock. But, you know, it's not as, like, strictly lever sidebar as, for example, like the Meower U9, which to me is like the archetype of the lever sidebar lock. You know, this spring arrangement is very levery to me, as is the kind of the swinging gate operation of the fence, relative to other lever locks. But yeah, and also you can see this massive actuator, which is actually what engages the ball bearings for the locking mechanism. It's kind of cool. But what makes this difficult, aside from the tapered levers, is this rubber O-ring, which really dampens feedback, and it puts drag on the core. That it's a really weird feeling. So yeah, this, you know, I've picked purple belt locks, I've picked brown belt locks, I've never picked this sucker, not once. And like I mentioned, I kind of definitely go half-hearted, because I want to keep it in as good condition as possible. But like, yeah, I definitely have never picked this, nor come especially close to picking it. All right, let me get it back together, and then I'll show you how I won a $1,000 shopping spree at Covert Instruments, plus I got to meet Pack Price. And how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb. It's a very tight fitting O-ring. It's just a pain in the butt, but I'm pretty happy with the way it operates. Dang, it's got, I never even noticed that, it's got a hardened washer underneath the actual bottom plate. Did I meet LPL? No, unfortunately I did not. I met Pac, like I said, I met Pac Prez and his whole family, and I had lunch with him and his daughter. And that was a very good time and a very lovely time. But Paclock is located where I live in California, and I'm assuming LPL lives, I think he's mentioned that he lives in the DC kind of DMV area. I mean, Covert Instruments is ships and is located in Virginia. So, somewhere in that DC metro area, I would assume, is kind of LPL's neck of the woods. But I definitely don't want to dox LPL, especially when I don't know where the heck I'm doxing. So let's not do that. Have a great night, Nemo. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it extremely a lot. Yeah, Lady Locks has definitely met LPL because she's on that CI round table, so she's way more involved with like LPL and McNally than I am. I just picked a lock and won some money from CI. Lady Locks actually works for CI. It's different. She gets paid. I got a gift card. 1 second, I'll be right back. Play the Jeopardy music. All right, thank you for your Jeopardy music. So I brought some kind of funky cool locks for show and tell, but first and first mostly. So Pac Prez in a video placed this sucker. Actually in the where he put it was the location where Paul Walker met his untimely end. And he actually put it, it was actually placed without a sprung shackle catch, which was kind of funky, although when I met him and they actually keyed it up for me, they did insert the factory, or the shackle catch. But yeah, factory tour. I got gold shackle tag, and humorously, they put hashtag master socks on the bottom. Oh, so there was on the Covert Instruments Instagram, there was a video with Pack Prez, and I'm pretty good at being a Google Maps detective, so I basically I found it the same day that they posted that video, and I'm like, I ain't waiting, we're going. So yeah, that's probably a pretty cool 98 Pro if I do say so myself. Definitely makes this one seem a bit boring. Also, I will say, Packlock was not going to make my life easy, because that's the bidding. I know bidding doesn't matter, but when it's 40 freaking degrees outside and you're freezing your balls off because you forget that California deserts feel cold at night, this bidding is not easy. And yes, it's 0 lift, max lift, 0 lift, max lift, minimum lift, high lift, max lift. It is not. This was a bitch to pick, and somehow I picked it bottom of the keyway. I also happen to think that this bidding may or may not be, excuse me, yeah, this bidding might be official bidding. A10262. But it's so like chunky going in and out. Like sometimes it's smooth, like it just went really smooth, but sometimes it's like it gets caught and it feels like it's definitely a max violation. Total time was about an hour, Dean. The video itself was about 15 minutes because I had already like had some failed attempts prior, and my hands were freezing up because Ben, you friggin' merchant of chaos. But yeah, so I had taken a break. I went back to my car. I turned my heated seats on, and I sat with my hands between the seats and my butt. But I mean, here's the thing. You gotta keep in mind, I had already picked a 98 Pro before. Like, this wasn't my first 98 Pro that I picked. I'm not a great picker, but I'm good enough to cold pick a 98 Pro. It was just a matter of time. So I was just like, you know what? I remember I was working that day. I literally turned to my sous chef and I'm like, I'm going to get this fucking lock, pardon my language. I went home. I did a little Google foo while taking a number 2, and within a little while later, I'm back up by Magic Mountain and where Paul Walker died, and a Lockheed Martin facility, and Packlock's factory, as it turns out, and I'm opening the friggin' lock. So there's that. I did, however, while I was up there, since this is on my the lock display above my bed where I keep like some of my favorite locks and some of the coolest ones. Obviously, this lock over here will be joining it very soon. Oh yeah, I was stoked when I saw it, and the video of me picking it is on YouTube, so if you do want to watch me picking it, it is a public video. It's on the Lockpicking Meower playlist for my channel. But I thought, while I was up there grabbing stuff from the wall of many cool things, I thought I'd show y'all some cool locks that, that have stories or that are just cool. So here's a little cute master lock, 40mm, shrouded shackle padlock. I would love to put this on like a gym locker, but I am not a member of any gym, so I cannot. But it's so cute. And when you take the key out, you can practically hide it in the palm of your hand. It's so cute. It's called the Model 590. It's it's another one of those master locks that's discontinued, although I think it might still be available in Europe as the Model 2240 maybe. And of course I just did it backflip. Yeah. So I think I see them on eBay, but they might actually be a Dimple core. This uses the same core as the Model 150, so it's a 5-pin core. It's got spools, this one has terrible, it has like some manufacturing issues, so picking it actually sucks. Alright, another cool one. I'm not sure whether to call this the Yale Goal, or the Goal Yale, or the Yale, but it's a Yale PD series padlock, which is, I think it's a pretty cool padlock. This one's obviously used, but this one has a Goal P cylinder in it with, if Meower was bidding, that would be it. All high lifts. But it's one of the few padlocks I know of that can actually fit the Goal P kick, because it's a little bit of a ghetto adaptation, but it is cool. I actually have a few more of these Yale PD series padlocks, and I'm definitely thinking of like doing like a bulk buy of Goal P cylinders and selling like Franken Yale, like the kind of like the Franken Rover, but like a Goal P inside of a Yale padlock. I think that would be a hella cool. And last but not least, on the subject of locks from the former George Air Force Base, I actually found this Abus 83 with no core at the Air Force Base 2. It was obviously not in this good condition, but it was more in this beat up condition. But I'll take a coreless Abus 83 any day of the week and twice on Sunday, because I had a spare kick adapter and now it's got a multi-lock interactive in it. This was a brown belt lock when I bought it. Not that it matters. So yeah, now that I know now, like, the interactive is just a purple belt lock, but I personally, if you're gonna get into Dimple locks and like, so it varies. I love the multi-lock interactive. I think it's one of my favorite it's one of my favorite locks to pick. I haven't picked this one in a while because, like I said, it's on my display wall. But they're I think Adam Amvagert is selling multi-lock interactive kicks fairly regularly, or interactive cylinders. Definitely worth it. And there's easier Dimples too. I mean, you can start with there's a bunch of green belt Dimples. There's even some yellow belt, or like, yeah. Okay, I have a multi-lock classic. I've never picked it. I bought it from, what's his face, CFMXA or whatever. Kafumska. But, alright, where is that multi-lock classic? There you are! Shit, stop. Now, full disclosure, this isn't all my multi-locks, because I have a multi-lock junior upstairs that I can't be bothered to go get right now, because easy. Yeah, so here's my multi-lock classic that I bought from I don't think it's the standard 006 keyway either, which is pretty cool, but I've never had much luck with this classic. If you notice, the inner driver pin on pin 2 and on 1, but especially 2, is much higher than the outer pin. That's such a bitch. That's just so evil when multi-lock does that. I also quite like that this multi-lock key is in Hebrew. It says multi-lock. Habibi. יש לנו multi-lock. זה lock multi. Yeah, this word right here is just look. But yeah, I put it, like I said, I love padlocks, so I put the sucker in an American A3600, and it's pretty cool, but I've never been able to pick this particular core. But yeah, that's a good one. I personally find the interactive a little bit easier than the classic or the junior, just because the interactive element, well, I mean, look, it happens. Look at this pin. Look at this one. That's pretty much the same height for inner and outer. It's just that they're telescoping, so they're not necessarily set at the same time. But, and it's also not infrequent to have the inner pin be lower than the outer pin. But when the inner pin is above the outer pin, and you're just reaching because the outer pin's generally set first, and sometimes the driver will drop down and you're trying to reach in through the already set outer driver to set the inner driver. And that is just, it requires very fine pick placement, and I'm not always great at that. But yeah, but definitely, like LPL has said, the interactive element can kind of be viewed as kind of like a free spot on a bingo card, because it's always going to be set super high. So you just know that and go for it. Because that's the whole point of the interactive element, is that there's a spring or some sort of detent in the actual bottom of the core down here that will, let's see if I can actuate this with a pick. Probably about 3 years now, Dean. But the interactive element, this is the bottom of it, and so it's actually floating. And it's actually actuated by a detent in the core to actually lift above the key. So that's an interesting bit of, so that's how that works. Knowledge is a powerful tool, Dean, and people with powerful tools usually hurt themselves. But yeah, I'm just a geek. When I get into things, I do tons of research and I try to understand them. But also, like, it's important to understand, when you're working with locks like this, you have to... Camelot? Camelot? What does JFK have to do with this? Anyways, but yeah, this one is from Adam. When I bought it, it was brown, but now it's purple because I think this is the one with the counter-milled outer pins, not ulcerated. But it was definitely difficult. But I now enjoy this one. No. That's not JFK. That's Bill Clinton's administration is camel toe. But yeah, I mean, I actually picked this very interactive Mile High Club in an airplane. So it's doable once you get the hang of it. There are definitely easier Dimple locks to go to, but but like I definitely enjoy the multi-locks. I think they're great fun. I'm deliberately beltless. I have not applied for any belts, and I don't think I ever will. But I'm also cognizant of like what I'm able to pick and what I'm not able to pick. And this is going to be my first black belt lock, not the Abus 83 CS, although it is quite pretty. But what's inside of it? Yeah, I found an MT5 Plus kick. Searching forever for this friggin' thing. The Euros and the mortar cylinders or whatever are very common, but God, it's hard to find an MT5 Plus kick. But I did! And I happen to know that Dig is jealous of me because he can't get the 83 CS 45 in brass. But I do. But I can because I'm an American. Freedom loudly! Kitty cat. Loudly. But yeah, I'll eventually get around to this, but I suck so hard at picking sliders. I'm looking at the key. This is... Pin 2 is going to be the tricky one. Probably. Or, no, sorry, pin... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, pin 4 is going to be the hard one because it's the one that has the inner pin set furthest inside of the outer pin. Probably. Although I've never worked with this whole alpha spring situation. In the MT5 Plus, instead of having one of the pins be the interactive element is this little spring situation at the bow of the key. Or, sorry, at the tip of the key. I am misspeaking. Kitty wants pets. Kitty ran away. Guess she doesn't want pets that much. But yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, Dean. The first lock, like you know, no BS lock that I picked was a best SFIC. And for the record, I've still never picked this one to control. It's probably mastered to hell, but there's only one correct control bidding. But there's lots. So you can hit operating. You can rake this sucker to operating. Not that difficult. Not that difficult. But good lord, I have never once, not once, hit control in this or the other best padlock, which is key to like to this. Not once. And there's 6 pins, too. They're not even the 7-pin cords. Yeah. Sometimes when they're, like, that heavily mastered, but there's only, like, one correct bidding for control, it's honestly, like, unless you map it out and are very methodical, which I have no desire to be, honestly, like, this is, like, that's, like, kind of one of the reasons I don't really do, like, safe lock manipulations. Like, I'm not doing charts and graphing this shit out. I'm, like, this is a fine motor skills practice for me. This is for keeping the fingers from turning into scar tissue, which they're, you know, rapidly building towards because of a decade working in the culinary industry. Yeah. Some of those ones, when they're, like, mastered to hell, like, good for, like, I kind of want to get that Peterson designed, like, bottom of the keyway tensioner that tensions the control ring directly. But I've heard that the success rate on those things is kind of mixed, to say the least. And number 2, I am not giving a single cent of my money to Ken Peterson. Sorry, can't be me. You know, maybe back in the day, it was a necessity, but these days, we have CI, we've got Jimmy, we've got Moki, we've got Bare Bones. Yeah, it's expensive and it's not worth it. Sorry. Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, look, I've done hooks out of wiper blade inserts. This one's in shitty condition because I also use it as a thing, you know, or you can, you know, you can take shorter things, like this is from the Sparrow's Chaos card, the short hook, and I just made my own handle for it. It's not great, but it's all good. Yeah. I personally think that Street Sweeper bristles, if they're in good condition, some of them are just beat to hell and they've been so, like, work hardened or whatever that they're almost brittle. But, like, if you get a nice Street Sweeper bristle, I think that's a better pick material. Unless you can find the, like, the higher quality wiper blades that have, like, the black plastic casing on them. Yeah. But if you can find a good Street Sweeper bristle, that makes the best picks. Let's see what I've got in my hand. Is this a Street Sweeper bristle or a wiper? I think that's a wiper. And that's just a Sparrow's pick. But but G-Keyman, if you can do that, doesn't that mean that? Excuse me. Doesn't that mean that the wiper is annealed because it's soft enough to bend in a way that it usually wouldn't want to bend? So there's just no hardness. Wouldn't you need to? You'd probably need to try and harden it up by heating it and quenching it, and then tempering it in, like, a toaster oven for a little while. Seems like a lot of work. I just go for something that's already hard. Hey, baby boy. Okay. Hello, everybody. Emily wants pets now. She's gonna get them. She's Mrs. Boo. She's Mrs. Boo. Mrs. Family Boo. Mrs. Family Boo. Ah, I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. Because I've definitely had moments where, like, I've definitely also, like, accidentally confused a wiper and a street sweeper bristle, and I went to, like, try and harden up what I thought was a soft street sweeper bristle, and it was a wiper blade, and then all of a sudden I went for something that's really hard to something that's completely annealed, and there's just no... You can't lift anything with that thing, because it's just so soft. But yeah, let me put back these multi-locks that live in my naughty bucket, because, well, one of them is just pain in the ass bidding, thank you CFMXA, and the other one is black belt, which is above my skill level at this point. Also, holy smokes and holy hell, it is almost 10 o'clock. Hell's bells. Yeah, the black metal ones are the good ones. That's that good, as it were. Hey, scritch, scratch, Mrs. Boo. Alright. Time for a Girl Scout cookie break. Girl Scout cookie break! Also, Fred! What the shit are you doing, dude? Hey, baby boy. Ah! You're a bright orange cat. Your ability to hide is limited at best. Oh, you can see some of the stickers in the background. What do we got? McNally, Eastlands, Kraken, J. Gabriel, CI, BBQ Eddie, Blacksport Weekly. I'm here to bully Fred. Baby boy, he's a baby boy, baby boy, he's a baby boy. You know what's funny is I need a super small Parky Puck Parkinson's thing to put on the Parky padlock. Because my Parky sticker is stuck to the, my, sticker wall. And I'm afraid if I try to take it off, it's just going to leave all the glue behind and it's going to suck. What now? Now yourself. Fred is absolutely an elite level cat, but yeah, he definitely does have some orange cat behavior at times. But he's just the most malleable cat in the world, as you can see, although he's not happy with me. But he's playing along because he's a good boy. I've had him since he was 8 weeks old, so we know each other, we get along. Meow! 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 And then, funnily enough, Emily is actually Fred's littermate. Me and my ex adopted them both when they were 8 weeks old. They're complete and polar opposites. Fred is super friendly. You know, he'll go out and say hello to everybody. He'll, Emily is a one-person cat. Thankfully, that person's me. But yeah, if anybody comes over and visits my apartment, she's boom underneath this friggin' sofa, where she is right now, by the way, hiding. It's hilarious. So it's actually, and this is actually one of the good things about when Ben came into the house. Yep, that's the lesson. That's why spraying cats with water is like just so non-functional. I've given up on it because it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, look, some of them will just start thinking it like it's a toy. It's like, okay, it's water time. Woo! Look up. I mean, they're as unique as we are, aren't they? They're... You never know what's going to be up with Kitty. Ginger snaps are good, but I'm sorry, Girl Scout cookies Thin Mints are just... They're an S tier level cookie, in my opinion. They're up there. Yeah, trust me, I didn't go out of my way to get these. My parents were... My mom ran into some Girl Scouts and she bought an extra box for me. So thanks, Mom! Ginger snaps are legit too, though. My grandma used to make them from scratch when I was a kid. Okay. Folks, I love you all, but it's almost 10 o'clock. I gotta go visit my parents' cat because my parents are currently in New York City for my brother's 30th birthday. But I'm not, because I'm watching Kitty Cat out. Yeah. I'm all furry. Thank you for noticing. I have a long-haired orange cat. He spreads his fuzz all over me. But yeah, it's actually really funny. Sometimes I'll actually like rub him up, like, and just to see how much crap I can generate. It's quite significant. Okay, we'll do that really quickly just for shits and giggles. Baby boy, I'm coming to torture you. Meh. Thankfully, I'm indoors right now. I'm definitely gonna have to switch out my shirt though when I leave. That's a definite. Some girl. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. I'm starting to get tired. But oh, sorry, Dean. One thing I wanted to say. I'm pretty furry, but I'm not a furry. Just to clarify, I am not a furry. There is fur on me. I am not a furry. Just to clarify. We got all that clear? Fur on me. Me, not furry. But yeah, Dean, I was gonna say, if you're thinking about getting into dimple locks, number one, don't buy the Sparrow's dimple picks. They suck balls. Save your money, go for the Huck, or save up your money and buy multi-pick. Don't go for the Sparrows. They're highly not recommended. Number two, multi-lock is great to get into, but if you want to start at a lower belt, you could go for the Abus 75 series. That was the first thing I picked, but because you can't you pick them and tension them in the same direction, so you have to float pick the 75 to set the spools, unless you can figure out a way to wedge your pick into the other side. So that's one option. But another one I happen to like is the Yardeni 6. You can get them in kick form very cheaply on eBay, and they're a pretty decent intro dimple lock, in my opinion. They're 6 pins. They've got a couple spools, but they've also got plenty of standard pins. They're green belt level. There's nothing super difficult about them, but they're a great entry into dimple locks. So yeah, that's an option for you. That's a couple options. Also, it's kind of a bitch to get it in the States, but the Bergwachter Boccia is a yellow belt dimple lock, which I've never picked, but it looks kind of cute. It's like it's a 40 millimeter 40 millimeter brass padlock. That's like a yellow or orange belt, I think, which is a good intro to dimple locks. I think LPL featured it once in one of his videos. And I mean, I want one. They took it off Prime for some reason on Amazon, and now it's really hard and expensive to get them, especially if you want anything bigger than 30 millimeter. And I'm sorry, 30 millimeter is not going to cut it for me. I want 40 or above. I'm a size queen when it comes to locks. Pause and wait for applause. And everyone clapped. Okay, y'all. We're calling it a day. I'm clearly losing a bit whatever is left of my sanity.